welcome, welcome. I don't know if you've ever experienced this where your character is like walking up against something and you get that jittering. You see that jittering? From him just keeping going against it's doing it right there. Yeah, see it? It's real bad right there. Anytime you're walking into a collider, you get that jittering. You see it? It's horrible. And I've tried forever to try to get rid of this. And I found a way that was so cool and worked out so good that I just got to show you. And it's using a trigger. Okay. Now the player, all right, the Mixamo character, so he's got the Mixamo rig, but you'll have the model. Let's go to the player here. You'll have the model underneath the main player. Okay. Now the player needs a rigid body and a collider to stop him from falling through the floor. But since I have this model, I put a box collider on him. It's because it used to be on the main player. Okay. But I put a box collider on him, and it's an actual box collider. It'll make collisions. It's not a trigger. Okay. So that's my box collider. And then here, I added a box collider that is a trigger. Now, I disabled it so that you could see the shaking, but I'm going to enable it now, and we'll play again. Okay, so now that trigger is enabled. Look at that. He just stops. Stops. Stop. I'm pushing forward on the controller right now and he stopped. Stops. Stops. See, there's no shaking. It automatically stops him. Okay, and I'm going to show you how. All right, so in the player's code, all right, because I have that trigger on the player character itself, I've got an on-trigger enter function, an on-trigger stay function, and an on-trigger exit function. All right. Now this trigger, I'll show you. Where is he? Player. Edit. Right there. I put it right in front of the player. Okay. Put it right in front of the player. And it's a little off the ground, so it doesn't connect with the ground or anything. All it's going to connect with is when you walk into anything with a collider, like the stuff that we walked into. Okay. And it's just far enough out away from him that it doesn't connect with this collider that's on this guy, which is the box collider for keeping me from falling through the floor and colliding with things. This one is just a trigger, and it's right out in front. So that way, boom. Oh, gotta stop walking to the door. See, he just stops. Boom, stops. And I'm pressing up right now. Oh, stops. 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 So, yeah, that stops that jittering real good. And if you want, let's disable that collider again and take one last look. At the difference. Okay, so see now I'm pressing forward and he's still trying to move. You're seeing this jittering, especially on the door, you can notice it. Looks terrible, very unprofessional. Okay, and we take collider, put it back on, and boom. I'm still pressing forward on the controller, but he stopped because now he's detected there's something in front of him and he can't go anymore. Boom, stops. Boom, stops. So, so that's that, and it works really good. And let me show you the code real quick. So, like I said, um, now for some reason he'll collide with like other triggers. So I made a tag on things that had a trigger like that bird, and I gave it the tag ignore me. All right. And when it checks, if something entered, looks to see that if the other collider has a tag ignore me, then it doesn't do anything. Else, it's a barrier, then colliding a bool I created equals true. And it does that all the way down for both the enter and the stay. And then on the exit, it sets colliding to false. That way you can go back to moving forward when there's nothing in front of you. All right. And then in the main update function here, he checks to see if colliding equals true. That's bool from down here, colliding. Checks to see this if statement checks to see if colliding does not equal true. Okay, so there's nothing in front of me. Then it runs my move functions. Okay, I use move input times speed times time dot delta time to move my character. And it's only going to allow me to do that if colliding does not equal true. Else, it stops me from walking or jogging, which puts me back into an idle state, and it sets my speed to 0. So that's how you saw me just stop and stand there when there was something in front of me. All right. And what I do is I allow the player to turn while this is happening. That way, you're not just stuck against the wall. Because if you couldn't turn or move, then you'd never get out of it, right? So I allow the player to still turn, okay? But I do not allow him to move forward any longer. So, where is that? So we've got turn input and move input. So the turn input is right here. All right, so right here, where it's checking to see if colliding equals true, I'm able to still transform rotate, vector 3 up, turn input, rotation speed, so forth. I'm able to do that outside of this if statement. So even if colliding with something equals true, I'm still able to turn. Okay. Now, it's inside of this because if this bool is met, I don't want to turn. That's another story. But as far as the colliding against the wall or something, I let the player turn, even if you're colliding. That way you can get out of it. And then I'd simply stop the movement if you're colliding, moving forward. And, I stop the animation so he just stands there and goes to idle. So that's how that's done. Um, Hope you get something out of that. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.